Welcome back guys, King Bullet here. This is the final video covering how strong Kakashi is, finally going over how strong he is as Hokage and in the Boruto era. He may ironically be at his all-time strongest. I'm here with Ian, Naruto Explained. This might actually be the most interesting video. If you enjoy it, please like the video, subscribe, and also check out Ian's channel. I will link it down in the description. So without further ado, let's move into this. Now there's a lot of Boruto novels and other obscure ways to scale him. So of course this is Ian's field of expertise and I'll hand it to him.
I cover all those novels on the channel, so yeah. So like the thing that you have to kind of keep in mind with Kakashi during Kakashi Hiden, he actually at the start of that time period right there, he's going through yet another mental block because he feels that having no Sharingan makes him inferior to be the Hokage, and he feels this way because he doesn't have the Raikiri anymore. And Tsunade kind of gets on to him and it's like, hey, you're plenty powerful yourself. All while this is going on, he's continued to train, he's continued to develop other jutsu. In particular, he develops the Purple Lightning, which during that time right there, Purple Lightning is actually more diverse than anything Kakashi himself was able to do with the Chidori and the Raikiri. But we see the fruits of his training in the sense that he has a moment where Rock Lee is wearing a disguise and Rock Lee attacks him, and Kakashi for a moment doesn't realize that it's Lee, and for a brief second he believes that Rock Lee that's fighting him is actually Might Guy. And when Kakashi gets serious, he utterly dominates Rock Lee and knocks Rock Lee onto his ass. So right there, that's Kakashi with no Sharingan being able to take out somebody as skilled as Lee, and he had already scaled Rock Lee to a character like Might Guy. And Might Guy during this time had also gotten a lot more powerful. He hadn't stopped training. And then when you look at Kakashi's Purple Lightning, you see a few instances of it where he's running the Purple Lightning through spilled water, spilled wine, which that shows a huge level of chakra control right there. You also see him, he's in a situation where he fights a ice release user, and the ice release jutsu that they use, Kakashi has to expend all of his chakra damn near running lightning release through it for an extended period of time. And this is a clear sign that Kakashi's stamina level has definitely increased, because all that chakra that he would have had drained from using the Sharingan, all those stamina amps that he got in the war arc where you saw Kakashi spamming Mangekyo's Sharingan and Sharingan Jutsu for 2-3 days, Kakashi's able to apply all this stuff without any type of stamina drawbacks, which is how he survived that ice release jutsu. When he's on top of that airship, and the airship has got to a point where it's starting to reach the Armstrong limit, and they blow a hole in it and starts to descend. They're in the part of the atmosphere where you have clouds surrounding. Kakashi was able to use 100% of his chakra using Purple Lightning while on top of the airship, falling at high speeds, and he was able to strike the clouds using Purple Lightning, and that produces the thunder showers, and the shockwave from that blows him out. But the fact is that just from that, you've seen clear amps in Kakashi's power level in that point right there.
Kakashi in the new era is actually very powerful now. A lot of people don't understand that. They think he's got like a lot weaker since losing his Sharingan, and he doesn't rank very highly among the other Kage, etc. So from what I recall, in this novel in particular, Kakashi does get beat up very badly by the antagonists of this novel who aren't very strong. But the reason this happens is because Kakashi lowers his chakra. He states all ninja have like this battle spirit mode when they use their chakra, and he was not using that, meaning he was probably most likely suppressed in this situation, which does make sense since he goes on to like beat them up very casually when using his chakra. Although Kakashi and Might Guy are still relative in this novel, however, Might Guy isn't as weak as a lot of people think he is since like losing his leg, since apparently he kicks even harder than he used to with his cast on, and he's been training constantly after the war as stated in this novel. Might Guy is so quick, he evades like all the attacks of his character who's capable of embarrassing the Fourth Kage, avoiding his lariat completely. So Might Guy is no pushover. In fact, he's way stronger than he used to be. And you gotta remember, Might Guy, if you think of it this way, hasn't got a lot weaker since like his whole body still remains the same despite losing that one leg, right? And he's still strengthening the rest of his body. Even that one leg, he still literally kicks people with it. Capable of being Boruto era Rock Lee, he literally puts weights on his legs, so he's definitely using it constantly. In fact, he's made like a new move out of his new leg, so it's pretty insane.
Hell, that's fair. I mean, because like guys gotten stronger since then, so yeah. You see Might Guy like in the novel that deals with Naruto's wedding. Might Guy Guy is training right there, right alongside Rock Lee as well. So the idea that Guy has stayed at the level he was at the war, that's not true. The lore says otherwise. And with Kakashi, that goes back to the rivalry effect, which is Guy's training and Kakashi's going to keep lock and step with him, especially given the fact that he already felt he was not strong enough to be the Hokage. So the other thing to kind of keep in mind is that, like with Kakashi and Naruto the Last, when you go to the scene where all those meteors are falling down throughout the sky, the reason why this is such an important feat for you to kind of understand Kakashi's strength level is we get a clear line in terms of how strong Kakashi's gotten and where his ceiling is right now as Hokage. So the thing you got to kind of keep in mind is that Kakashi during the Naruto the Last movie and in the novelization, he already has purple lightning since the last takes place after this. Well, the fact is that Kakashi is watching Rock Lee and the Suicide Corps, and there are all these Inner Gates users. They're flying up into the air. They got this giant meteor that's coming, and the Corps members are able to stop the meteor. Rock Lee is in the 6th gate, and he breaks the meteor in half, but he can't outright destroy it. Well, once this happens, despite all the insane stuff that Kakashi did in the Kakashi Hiden novel, he sees this meteor, this giant meteor coming towards the village, and he steps forward, and it comes down to how you interpret this. So Kakashi says that he's fully prepared to die at this point, and Kakashi's basically talking like how he's accepting death. So it comes down to, do you believe that Kakashi's purple lightning is strong enough to destroy the meteor? I personally don't think that it is, just based on the fact that he was saying that he was prepared to die. And that's when Sasuke shows up, and in the novelization, it's strongly implied that Kakashi was very relieved that Sasuke was there. If Sasuke believed that Kakashi could have destroyed the meteor, and Kakashi has time to use a jutsu, if Sasuke sees that he's using a jutsu, he wouldn't have felt the need to destroy the meteor himself. And so that's why I kind of put that there. But that at least lets you look at Kakashi and say that he can't surpass 6th Gate Rock Lee in terms of power. If Lee couldn't destroy it, and Kakashi feels that he's prepared to die at that point, you're stopping Kakashi at 6th Gate Rock Lee during the events of Naruto the Last. But you have to remember, this is a Rock Lee who's a lot stronger now. When Kakashi and Lee were fighting during the events of Kakashi Hiden, Kakashi's looking at Lee, and again, he doesn't know it's Lee, and he thinks he's fighting Might Guy. So during that time, Lee is at least caught up to Might Guy, or is in the process where he's getting dangerously close to Might Guy because Kakashi makes the mistake. So being inferior to 6th Gate Rock Lee, who might even be potentially stronger than Might Guy at this point, is not anything to feel bad about.
Yeah, just for reference, 6th Gate Rock Lee, literally back in Shippuden, was capable of reacting to Jubi Madra's truth-seeking orbs, who's very relevant in that fight. So Rock Lee is still a very powerful character, and there's no shaming in being below him at this stage, at the very least.
Oh, absolutely. And like when you look at the Boruto era, we also know from the Naruto Retsuden novels, so Kakashi Retsuden, Sasuke Retsuden, and Naruto Retsuden, that Kakashi's continued to train even after stepping down as Hokage. He's actually gotten to a point to where he's been using the scientific ninja weapon tech department to refine his jutsu and beef up his training. And you see little small testaments of this where in the anime, Awabe saying that Kakashi's strong enough by himself to destroy an entire nation.
From what I remember, Iwabi states Kakashi's easily of that level. So a lot of people believe Kakashi can actually take down the new era Kage, at least individually take down their nations. So if he's contending with these other Kage, this might place him above the likes of Otsutsuki like Kinshiki, etc. Which is not that far-fetched, since in Kakashi Retsuden, which happens in the Boruto era, the narrator states that Kakashi is still at the level, at the bare minimum, he was versus Obito and Madara, etc. And we know he should still be as strong as when he was capable of reacting to the Ash Bones, so he might still be like one of the strongest characters in the series. In fact, you even mentioned there was some translation saying he was as strong as he was versus Kaguya as well.
In the Kakashi Retsuden novel, Kakashi has a situation where 300 mercenaries that have taken over this country that Kakashi's in. Kakashi, granted, he's fighting them 6 to 10 at a time, but he's fighting the ninja guerrilla warfare type of tactics. He's taking them down. He's using a mud wall that is bigger than he's using a mud wall that's bigger than the buildings in the area. And when he sees a shinobi use what the shinobi refers to as their version of Raikiri, which is really just a super powerful lightning release that's a cheap imitation. It actually pisses Kakashi off when he sees it because he knows it's not a Raikiri. But the fact is that Kakashi's chakra control is so insane right now that he takes this mud wall and he starts molding the chakra so fast that he's able to change the property of the mud wall into glass by heating it up in order to cancel out the lightning release. And then he reverses it, and when he reverses it, he does it so fast that everybody in the area thinks that Kakashi just used a super insane genjutsu. So that right there is showing you his chakra control is well beyond anything that he had in the Shippuden era. And he even says it himself that he's significantly stronger than he was during the war arc. And the fact that he's able to keep up that mud wall for 24 solid hours and actually a little longer than that. And then when he releases the mud wall, it's stated that the other shinobi in that 300 shinobi camp, they say, well, when he releases the mud wall, we should be able to feel it, because any mud wall jutsu that's of that scale and size is going to cause earthquake type of tremors. Kakashi's chakra control is so insane that nobody feels the tremors when Kakashi lets down the mud wall.
Ian, what's your thoughts on Kakashi being able to contend with some of the new era Kage?
When you look at some of the novels, it is implied that the Kages are the 5 strongest shinobi, not counting Sasuke, as a collective and as well as individually out of all the nations. So Kakashi might be below them, but the idea that Kakashi can't 1v1 get the upper hand on some of those people is not crazy.
And oh yeah, mention that one feat you were telling me about, the one where like Kakashi's capable of matching power that can flood entire nations in Kakashi Retsuden.
Yeah, so like in Kakashi Retsuden, we actually find out more about the Sage of Six Paths time when he was alive, and we all know about like the ninja tools that the Sage of Six Paths have and how they're absolutely busted. Well, there was another weapon that was in existence called the Suigu, and what this weapon was able to do, Hagoromo stored Six Paths chakra and water release inside of the weapon, and in order to use it you have to form a contract with it, but the weapon itself uses Six Paths chakra in order to do so. And when it's fully unleashed, if the person can't control the weapon when it's being used, they can flood the entire country. Well, Kakashi is in a situation where he's fighting somebody who's gotten their hands on that weapon, and due to Kakashi's chakra control as well as his own increased chakra reserves, Kakashi is able to directly counter the Six Paths chakra that's coming, the Six Paths chakra water release is coming out of that weapon. So right there, you're seeing that Kakashi, his prior statement where he says that he's stronger than any version of himself that fought against Madara and Obito, it's not necessarily something that is crazy, because again, depending on which Madara or Obito you think he's talking about, that potentially includes Jubi Madara, and that potentially includes Jubi Obito. So that right there is kind of lining up that the idea that he's able to counter Six Paths chakra, which granted is weakened Six Paths chakra, but even a small bit of Six Paths chakra is still a massive boost in power.
This idea that Kakashi has got stronger and there's been power cliffing in Boruto might be quite prominent, since we know he was capable, at least in the anime, of swapping hands with base Kashin Koji, and base Kashin Koji is still technically an inner member of Kara, and according to Kawaki, all inner members of Kara are absolute monsters in power that even Naruto should be wary of. Now I think Sasuke even goes out of his way to state that the Kara inner members all have powers on the level of Otsutsuki, and that concerns him.
Sasuke was specifically looking into Kara as well. That wasn't just some random statement. Like, Sasuke went out of his way to investigate the Kara organization, and he came to that conclusion that like these people are potentially Otsutsuki level. And it's not crazy because like Delta kept up with the suppressed Six Paths chakra mode Naruto, and like Kashin Koji's stronger than her. So I mean, it's not too crazy.
Although Naruto was suppressed because he couldn't use his large-scale attacks over Kurama Avatar, he was using his full power, as he stated, when it comes to close quarters combat.
Yeah, he says that in the manga, yeah.
This even stayed in like promotional material like V-Jump, from what I remember.
So now that we've kind of broke down all the different stages of Kakashi, the question I would have for you is, if you had to rank Kakashi in terms of where he is in terms of the strongest Kages as far as Hokages, and then where you would rank him, this version of Boruto era Kakashi time travels, gets placed into the war arc, where would this version of Kakashi rank in your opinion?
Probably above the level of Hashirama, and now reaching that 6th path level power maybe? What about you, Ian? How strong do you think this new era Kakashi is?
given all that updated information, I put this version of Kakashi either at that level of Hashirama, and Hashirama is somewhat close to Ten-Tails Obito, so I would put Kakashi somewhere close to Hashirama, if not stronger than Hashirama. It just depends on that whole line about the battles against Obito and Madara, which version of Obito and Madara you think that Kakashi was referring to. But it's addition by subtraction. He lost his Sharingan, but he gained increased chakra reserves, and he can use his full 100% chakra, which not a lot of people can use 100% chakra in a single attack like that. Yeah, and like he specifically says he feels that he's stronger. So that right there, like anybody has a testament and a judge of how strong they are, it's the actual person. And depending on how you read that context, I read it as an internal monologue, but you could also read that as that's the narrator saying it, because it's Kakashi stating that he feels that he's stronger, but it's Kakashi written in third person. So that might have been the narrator. I've got to actually check that passage.
It's definitely a narrator statement, and the narrator is very valid, since the narrator can't be fallible. The narrator tells you how things are. The narrator doesn't usually have a reason to lie. It's a little bit like a data book statement, if anything. So you can definitely use this statement to claim that like Kakashi has got stronger without the Sharingan. He might be stronger than ever. And I think that wraps up the video for the most part.
Yeah, I think that's good.
So yeah, I guess that was our conclusion. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you want to see more collaboration videos, like the video, subscribe. If you're new to the channel, please sub. And also don't forget to check out Ian's channel, Naruto Explained. He does similar content to me. He covers more lore-based things, if anything. I couldn't recommend him enough. Like I said, I will link his channel in the description. And he uploads pretty much every day or most days a week.
Pretty much, and like from the 1st to the 14th of the month, it's all lore videos that are based on a lot of the light novels. Like I might talk about, like right now I'm still covering Sasuke Shinden. That's a light novel where Sasuke is able to replicate ice release, and I mean that's stuff that like a lot of people aren't aware of. So I mainly talk about the light novels the first half of the month.
Alright, thanks for watching the entire video pretty much. Don't forget to check out my other videos, and peace out.